What if I told you that even in 2026, California and CARB are still deciding on what Dodge can sell you? We just got to look at the new 2026 Dodge order guide for the Charger and Durango, and it confirms something wild. You can now order a Durango 392 or a Hellcat if you live in California or other CARB states. Not because Dodge don't want to sell it to you, but because CARB won't let them. But Dodge might have a secret plan to get around it, and it involves a supercharger kit that could turn a basic Durango GT into a 600 horsepower monster. And yeah, we saw it for ourselves at Roadkill Nights. And before we get deep into this, more over 50,000 friends and the 57% of you guys who are watching these videos who haven't subscribed yet, don't let CARB win. Hit the subscribe button and join the Hemi Rebellion. So let's get started with the receipts, and you can pause this video so you can actually see the order guide, because I'm not going to get deep in depth over it, but at least you can see it and you can pause it and see what's actually changing for the 2026 model year. But in the new Dodge allocation and ordering constraints guide, it basically tells you that the new Durango 392 RT Hemi is not available in CARB states. The Durango Hellcat is not available in CARB states. Only the Durango GT with the Hemi V8 engine, the 5.7 version, is orderable in the state of California and similar CARB restricted states. Basically, if you live in California or any of these CARB compliant states, you can now buy these two versions of the Durango SUV, the Durango RT and Durango Hellcat, even though they're legal in the other 44 states. No such restrictions apply on the Charger 6-pack cars if you want to go that route with that particular vehicle. But why you cannot still buy the vehicle that you want in 2026, as all the stuff has been signed away in the month of July, especially by the Trump administration, because CARB still sets their own rules in the day, and they still block vehicles based on the powertrain, not allowing customers to actually get what they want. Now, California has an active lawsuit against the federal government for removing their special waivers that were struck in at, I think around January, when they finally got their waiver and stuff at the last minute. So for now, all you guys who live in these CARB states, you cannot get what you want. And it'll be more than likely several years before all these cases are heard. It look like they're just trying to run the clock out, honestly. And some of you guys who live in these states, you're going to miss out on some very, very interesting Hemi-powered vehicles, and even the other stuff that other companies are going to come out with, right? Because a lot of companies still cannot offer vehicles and products to customers living in those states that those customers actually want. But it's crazy that all these cool cars and products are about to come out, but none of you guys who live in these CARB states will be able to get it, and you just have to settle for like Hurricane and small displacement engines. But that's not necessarily Dodge's fault, and that's basically just government overreach. So just remember, in California, just remember when you vote next November for the next governor and stuff, it will have huge implications on what you and these dozen other CARB states are allowed to have compared to the rest of us, right? So I'm just saying. But here's where it gets real interesting, because remember the Durango GT with a 5.7-liter Hemi that I mentioned earlier? Dodge might have a plan to turn it into a full-blown performance sleeper SUV. Because at Roadkill Nights, we saw a display with a direct connection supercharger kit built for the 5.7-liter Hemi that had e-torque on it in the Ram 1500. Now, after talking to a few influential and key people, Dodge could offer Whipples as upgrades in the direct connection stage kits, especially for like stage 3. And based on what we've seen from this kit at Roadkill Nights, that this supercharger kit could push the 360 horsepower Durango GT into about that 500 to 600 horsepower range with a full factory warranty. Now that's basically bridging the gap between a 392 and Hellcat level performance without a Hellcat badge, but still a full factory warranty. And more importantly, it will be 50 state legal. But I checked Whipple's website, and they are still waiting on CARB approval for some of their blowers from the 2024 and newer model years on multiple vehicles. So for right now, unless Whipple and these other companies are getting these CARB approvals and stuff, everyone is SOL. But you can see, unless my dear friends Tim Knisses and Matt McClure decide to drop these kits without CARB approval and limit these new stage kits for non-CARB states, everyone's basically stuck in the exact same performance boat and stuck having performance without boost that we all been looking for. But if this kit drops with CARB certification, it becomes the workaround for Dodge to offer you more power and more performance in states where they're not allowed to actually bring out the 392 and the actual Hellcat in those states. You basically just go and order you a Durango GT with a 5.7 liter Hemi in California. You can go to your dealer and go get a Durango direct connection stage kit. It'll probably be stage kit 3 since it has a blower on it, right? And then boom, you got a 5 to 600 horsepower Durango that CARB cannot block you from having. And after talking to a few people at the actual event, I think in Dodge and Ram is trying to target these supercharger kits around about 10 grand, kind of like the same price range that Ford was trying to do with their supercharger kit that you can do on the F-150s and you can do on the Mustangs. So I think they're trying to price match and do that right around that same price range. I know for that supercharged Ram vehicle, they had a couple of extra things in there, like a different air intake box on there, and they had on there, I believe, a manifold exhaust. So we'll have to see what all comes with these actual kits. But if that is the case and they can get around 10 grand, that is a lot of bang for your buck performance. But word around the campfire was that Dodge already has their stage kits finished for a variety of vehicles, but they are just pending CARB approval before they are being released. Now, this same story happened when Dodge announced stage kits back in 2020, 2021, and it took almost 2 or 3 years before they actually start releasing the first batch of stage kits, because they had a situation where they announced them and then you kept seeing on the little flyer, pending CARB approval. And then it wasn't until the D1 said it was being released that they actually announced that same day that they actually started getting the first batch of CARB approvals from California. So, I mean, you can see there are a ton of horsepower upgrades that, you know, they're getting held up in the pipeline, and you really just have one state stopping everyone else in America from enjoying all these horsepower upgrades. So me, myself personally, I would just say, hey Dodge, just say F CARB, release these kits in non-CARB states and let the rest of us have all this performance with a factory warranty, and let those states have all these Hurricanes and all these EVs over there, because that's what they voted for in those states, right? So let them have all this stuff. Let us have our fun, because I think even without CARB states, about 60% of like all vehicle registrations in America is in non-CARB states. So even though they have around 40-45% of people who live in those states, the rest of us still can give you guys a ton of money while you're still waiting on this California, I guess, commission of people to stop dragging their feet. But I'm just saying, just give the rest of us all the performance that we want. But, you know, with the launch of the Durango Hellcat, for example, Dodge is giving buyers a crazy amount of customization options, right? I mean, it's pretty cool that now in the Durango, you can choose between, you know, colored calipers, colored badges that you can swap out, several wheel options, several seatbelt colors, hood paint choices between regular and I think matte. And then you also have different stripes and tips and headliners. I mean, you name it. I mean, Dodge claims over 6 million combinations. I have not really, you know, checked that out to see what is possible. But my problem is it's only available for the $80,000 Hellcat version. Now, I would have loved to see Dodge take the entire dated Durango lineup, the 5.7 liter Hemi, the 392 Hemi, the Hellcat Hemi, take all those vehicles and give them the jailbreak treatment, especially since CARB customers cannot order the 392 or the Hellcat in the first place. Give everyone across the board to have the option to jailbreak their Durangos. And of course, charge them the actual jailbreak free to do so. Because I mean, I would love to see my friend Matt McAleer, the CEO of Dodge, say, hey, you know what? All right, you know, I can't give you a 392. I can't give you a Hellcat in those dozen of CARB states. You know what? I got you. Let me let you jailbreak your 5.7 and throw in the whole catalog at it. And hopefully, I'm hoping that's something they'll consider for the next model year, especially at road nights. Wink, wink. But it is pretty cool that the Durango Hellcat does have the ability to jailbreak. That's something that we kind of figured that was going on with all those spy shots that we got from the plant. And I just hope that Dodge will consider doing the lower version of 392 and the 5.7, especially considering, like I said earlier, that people who live in these CARB states would not have the ability to jailbreak their Durango. So allowing at least the 5.7 to do that same thing, I think would be a cool option. I mean, I think honestly it'd be awesome if like Dodge basically took like the actual Hellcat version and dumb it down to a 5.7 to where even if someone has a 5.7 Durango, they can still get Brembo brakes on it. And just from the standpoint that if you get the 5.7, you could get a supercharger kit in the future, and that'd be the justification of putting the actual Brembo brakes on a 5.7, right? You don't necessarily need Brembos for 360 horsepower, but for 600 something horsepower, that would make a lot of sense, especially if they target that and be like, hey, look, you can jailbreak your 5.7, but you got to have Brembos on there, and will allow you to have like different color interiors, like the black seats, the red seats, I think the hammerhead seats, and then you have different color badges on there. Maybe you have like a 5.7 badge, or I mean, heck, or even the RT badge or GT badge and stuff. Just have the ability to change all this stuff out. I think it'll be a pretty cool option for Dodge to offer maybe the next model year. I know Matt would tell me in an interview, because I did interview Dodge CEO Matt McAleer, and he would tell me that it's going to be kind of clunky for 2026 model year because they are still building some Pentastar actual GT Durangos, but I think after this week, they're going to stop building those, and they're going to be strictly just only Hemi only going forward for the Durango, which makes a lot of sense. But I mean, I just wish that the actual ability to jailbreak all the vehicles will actually be something that is beneficial and that someone can actually experience. I know if we're talking to TK and OC Motivator, I know they're interested in getting Durangos. I mean, I would get a Durango, but it does not have a self-driving option. That's why I'm thinking more along my particular situation. I'll probably go for the Ram Charger, because I'm pretty sure that's going to do self-charging, and I need something that can tow, because I want to take my D170 to events around the country, but I don't think I would do it in a Durango because I want to have a self-driving vehicle, right? So I think a Ram Charger for me probably be more beneficial, having a hybrid system and using 87 octane. I think that'd be the way I would particularly go. But I know for TK, this 6'5" dude, like all I know with TK is that my head comes to his chest and he still has like all this freaking height on top of me, right? So I know he needs something that's tall. I don't understand how he got to that damn that BMW M5 being as tall as he is, but I know he would consider getting a Durango. I know OC Motivator, he would consider getting a Durango. I don't know which version he said he would get, either 392 or Durango Hellcat, but I had to kind of like bust a bubble with him yesterday that, yeah, you can only get the 5.7 down there, and I don't know which version he was talking about getting for his wife, but that's just basically, you know, our thought process about this. I think we're all very interested in getting one. I mean, me personally, if I was to get one, I'll do like a cheapy 5.7 and just go with a base budget route. Especially depending on how much the Ram Charger costs, that might be my actual option. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Are you guys excited for all the changes coming to the Durango, especially the Durango Hellcat being a jailbreak? Like I guessed first before anyone else, right? I threw it against the wall and I guessed exactly right, especially having all this evidence coming from all my dear sources in the plants and stuff. But let me know what you guys think. Are you guys going to be buying Durango Hellcats? Are you guys going to be buying the 392 or 5.7 Durango? Will you guys be wanting Dodge to release an actual supercharger kit from Whipple so you can keep your factory warranty but have hundreds of extra horsepower? Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. And oh yeah, speaking of which, I did interview, like I said, Dodge CEO, my dear friend Matt McAleer, and check out this interview right here. And until the next time, I'm out.